Welcome to Grow Your Own. It's the middle of August. That means it's just about that time. So days are getting shorter, and the plants have done a lot of growing since the last time I took some footage. It's been a couple of weeks. The days are now short enough that it's starting to trigger the plants to flower. So from here on out, it's flowering time. So what we're going to do today is reverse the nutrient mix from what it was before, where it was 3 parts 444 and then 1 part Power Bloom. Now we're going to reverse that. We're going to go with 3 parts Power Bloom, 1 part 444, and that of course is a 30-day release nutrient. So 30 days from now will be September the 15th, and of course by September the 15th I'm not going to want to feed them anything. In fact, all I'm going to do is maybe give them a little bit of sugar, some molasses, some organic molasses, and maybe a little bit of PK 1314 just to try to fortify the buds a little bit. But those are both kinds of nutrients that don't leave a residual behind. So once that Gaia Green's all used up, that's all that will be left, and from there on out it's all clearing. So before we get started with that, let's just take a little look at the plants, and you can see they've done quite a bit of growing. This plant is just doing amazing. This one, look, and when I say they're starting to set up, I mean they're starting to set up. In particular, this one here, which I believe is I believe that's a Keith Richards. Now this one right here was a victim again of the wind. So what's happened with this one is it's done that same thing where it goes back and forth and back and forth. You can see I tied it off back here with a string right around the main stem, and then I tied it off over here too on the main stem, and that just stops it from doing that rocking back and forth. However, I'm afraid that it may have been too late, and I don't have a lot of faith in this plant. I don't know that it's going to make it all the way through to the end. If not, that's okay. We've got other plants that are going to pick up the slack. And speaking of picking up the slack, this one, which suffered quite a bit from me removing the other plant and a bit of the old rocking back and forth, it's starting to come back. I think we're going to get a few nice buds off of it. Here's the other, what I believe is Keith Richards, and you can see it's also starting to set up for flower too. And finally, the strawberry gelato on the end here. Look how much it's grown. I mean, last time I took footage, it was just barely at the top of the trellis netting, and now look at it. It's way up here. This is something that happens as these days get shorter, and they start to go into a growth spurt. So they go upward, and then they start to fill outward with the flowers. So time to get busy. It was just maybe a couple of days ago I watered these things, and they're already dry, and it's a result of we had a little bit of rain, but not enough to make a difference. And it's not quite drought anymore, but it's still dry. And but the thing is, these plants are so damn big now that they just suck up any moisture you give them, like almost right away. They just suck it up and then transpire it off into the atmosphere and grow. So let's get busy. Let's get some nutrient out here, and let's start putting our Gaia Green nutrients on. Okay, so that's it. 1 part 444, 3 parts Power Bloom, and all these plants are ready to rock for the remainder of the summer and into the fall. And flowering has begun already, as you see. I'm really looking forward to it. If I sound a little bit muffled to you, well, it's because I'm wearing one of these. Mosquitoes are pretty horrendous around here. You might actually hear them buzzing around on the video every once in a while, and yeah, they're pretty hard to deal with. But these bug jackets make a big difference, and it's all good. So next thing to do is to get them watered in, get that nutrient watered in, start taking off some of these nasty yellow leaves and whatnot, and even some that aren't yellow, just to kind of get the airflow going. All those reasons why we do this. And I'll be busy doing that for probably a good half hour or so before I'm done. Okay, so it's time to grab the hose. I'm going to take the hose, spread it out to the furthest plant, Then we're going to go up there, we're going to pH balance that barrel and get the watering started. So back up top, get this barrel done. I think probably just enough phosphoric acid to do this barrel. So let's just give it a little squirt. There we go. Get the little stir stick here. Give it a good stir. Let's see where that pH ends up. I'll bet you it's right at 6.2. We'll see. So I give it a good stir. Let's get that pH pen in there and see what it does. Just about there. 6.3. Slows down when it gets closer to its target. And there's 6.2. So, you know, even if it flickers on to 6.1, it's all good. Anywhere from 6 to 6.5, you know, kind of is acceptable. The target is 6.2. And it looks like we nailed it, just like I said. So let's open her up and get that water flowing. And there she goes. Water running out to that plant right now. Okay, water's flowing. Time to get busy, get some watering done. Get some of this nutrient watered in. Get them going. Give them a good start for that flowering. Get some nice big fat buds going. Won't that be nice? So as always, I give them, you know, like half of their water first time around, and come back and give them the second half of their water after the first half soaks in. That way you don't get much spillover. You see how it's kind of spilling over there. You don't want to do that. So it's best to get the surface kind of moistened and then come back and give it the rest when it's more able to absorb water. And it's only been, I think, 3 days since the last time I watered, and I guess we're getting to the point now where it's going to be every other day, pretty much no matter what. Not so much because it is dry, and it has been a very dry summer. It's still on the dry side. I think this is going to go down as probably one of the driest summers this region of Nova Scotia's ever seen. On the other half of Nova Scotia, out towards Halifax, Cape Breton Island, even up in Digby, they've been getting copious amounts of rain. But here on the South Shore, not so much. So drought is very uncommon. I think I've mentioned it before in this area, but obviously it's not impossible because we're experiencing that right now. It hasn't meant that I've had to cut the grass less, but honestly, I'd rather cut the grass more and not have so much of a drought. On the other hand, droughts do mean lots of sunny days, and lots of sunny days are good for cannabis plants as long as you can get water to them. It's fantastic weather. If you can't get water to them, you're kind of screwed. So I try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You know, while I'm watering, I'm going around and just getting rid of some of these big, huge fan leaves because they're just blocking light and blocking air. You know that deal. And it's a never-ending process. It just goes on and on and on. You never run out of leaves to pluck off. That's for sure. And this time of year, it doesn't hurt them at all. In fact, it's kind of good for them. So, de-leafing, whatever you want to call it, it's an important process. Go for the yellow ones first, and then go for the big fat ones that are just blocking air and whatnot. See, there's one right there that's definitely, it doesn't need to be there anymore. So we're just going to get rid of that, and on we go. And back to the first one again. And you see now that it's kind of got its surface moistened, this will soak in much quicker and much easier, and won't leave any standing water on the top. It's funny how the dryness of the soil can create like a barrier for moisture, which seems counterintuitive. But once that dryness is wet, it then becomes a sponge and it just soaks it up like crazy. So the second pass is really the good soaker pass. And while we're here and while we're watering, let's just get rid of some of these nasty old leaves. Make some room for everybody else. You can actually see all that Gaia green powder getting soaked in the water, and then once it soaks into the water, it kind of dissolves into the water, and then the water becomes
the
That's it
catalyst.
for the water. So everybody pretty much got an equal share. I think I'm gonna come back and do some doctoring on this plant. This branch down here is broken, and it's not helping the situation with this thing, which is tedious to say the least. Right now, not looking like a healthy plant. Unfortunately, it's got that girdling thing going on, and there's not much you can do about it except try to secure it so that it doesn't wobble back and forth, which I've done. But it may be too late. We'll see. I'm going to let her go. Again, it's like this one. You know, I was saying, as long as it's still alive, it stays. And you can see that it's still alive. It is now starting to produce, and it's actually getting little offshoots. So each one of these is going to end up being, I believe, a nice bud. So, you know, even if it just produces, you know, a quarter pound or a couple of ounces, that'd be nice. I think it's going to be fine. This one I'm more worried about than that one now. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, and all these old nasty leaves on the ground, that's what you want to see after you're done. De-leafing, that's one of the most important things you can do to keep these plants nice and healthy and prevent things like, you know, powdery mildew and whatnot, which I'm not so sure it's going to be that big of a deal this year because things are pretty dry. Although, you know, the extremes, it's a funny thing with powdery mildew. You might think that, you know, moisture and stuff like that is going to promote it more, but actually too dry or too wet can produce or at least encourage powdery mildew. So try to keep them moist. Don't let them dry out too much, and don't overwater, and you should be fine. Powdery mildew too, I will mention, is a plant-specific thing. So if I did get powdery mildew, I would have to catch it from spores that are flying around in the air that came from another cannabis plant. So I don't think there's any other cannabis plants even close to where I am right now. I know my neighbor was growing a few last year, but he's not growing any this year. So I doubt I'm going to get powdery mildew no matter what, because it is plant specific. It's not going to come off of some other plant that's got powdery mildew and get onto cannabis. It doesn't work like that. So I think I'm good as far as that goes. And again, I'm doing all the right things to make sure that they're not too dry, they're not too wet, and they're getting lots of air. And those things will help prevent it. Should a spore just happen to fly by and land on there, hopefully it won't take, because I've done all these things to try to prevent that and to try to get air in there. So let me go get a pair of snippers, do a little bit more serious, maybe branch removal on this particular plant. And I think then we'll be done for the day. Okay, so these are called Chickamauga scissors. These are really, really excellent scissors. I've had these for years, and you can see they're still sharp. You can see all the residue from all the other cutting that I've done with these things. But if you want to get a good pair of shears, you know, you'll see some online that are cheap. Don't cheap out. Get yourself a good pair of shears, and they'll last you like forever. So Chickamauga, check them out. So let's get rid of this branch down here. You can see in there. See, it's already kind of broken. So I'm going to get right up in there, and I'm going to get right at the base, and I'm going to take it right off. And there it goes, see? Now, this sick branch, which was not going to come back, hopefully is not going to get some other disease. There's a lot of things that can happen, bacterial or fungal, to a sick plant. So trying to keep your plant healthy is a good thing, and I'm just going to chuck that thing over where it's not a problem. Okay, so the hose is all put to bed. Time to go up topside and refill the barrel. So before you start filling your barrel, of course you want to turn off the tap. Otherwise you're going to be filling the barrel, and it's just going to be running back out the hose again. So sometimes you forget things, and you know, the older I get, the more I forget. I think that rhymes. Anyway, time to fill the barrel. Okay, water's on. Let's go see what's happening at the barrel. Okay, so now we wait. So as the barrel fills, let's just have a little look at the scenery. Last night there was a wonderful, wonderful sunset. The sun was going down right over there, and it was this big orange ball, and clouds were kind of going across it, making look at like it had rings around it. It looked a lot like what Jupiter looks like. If you've ever seen a picture, you know, from the Hubble telescope or something of Jupiter, and you see it's got all those bands around it. That's exactly what the sun looked like last night. So I think to end this episode off, what I might do is just take that shot of that sunset and just give you like a 20 or 30 seconds of just enjoying what we see almost every night. It's Friday, August 23rd. Time to do some watering and some other unfortunate. We're taking that plant out today and doing a little bit of watering, and we'll have a little funeral after I'm done. So first thing to do is to pH the water as usual. So before I start watering, let's give everybody the once over. See how things are going. Looking good. Look at these things. They're just setting up like crazy. It is late August, right? So it is time. These ones are just a little further behind. And here's our unfortunate death in the family, and you can see it's a lost cause. So it's coming down, it's going out. I don't want these other plants to see what's happening over here. Not that they can see or anything, but you know, they can sense it somehow. This one's coming back nicely. This one's also setting up nice, and how are we doing on this one? Yeah, I see some flowering starting on this one too. So yeah, everybody's getting going. I think we're going to get some really nice buds off this plant, probably all of them, but some are just going to take a little longer than others, and we'll pick them as they're ready. We don't just come in and do one big harvest. We say, that one's ready, go. That one's ready, go, etc., etc. So let's do the watering first, and then we'll get the loppers, and we'll send that one to its place in the sky. Turn around and get her going. And we have flowing water. Okay, water's going good here. Yeah, we're just gonna take around, make sure everybody gets a good watering. Of course, now that barrel's being rationed out amongst 5 plants instead of 6. So that actually increases the amount of water that I'm gonna be able to give every individual plant, which is a good thing because they are getting so big. They need more water, and so the water that was going to go to our lost plant is going to be distributed evenly amongst all of these other plants. So again, we go the first pass and we get the top of the ground wet, and then we come back and we do a second pass, and that just helps the water absorb better and prevents it from running off and spilling over. So this first pass is done. On the second pass now, and you probably noticed that it sucks the water in a lot quicker now that it's been moistened. It's funny, it gets like a crust on the top of the soil when it gets dried out, and once you penetrate that crust, it acts like a sponge a little better, and it absorbs a little better. So just keep spreading the wealth here, and be right back. So I had really good trunk development on this plant and most of the other plants. You see that it's got that flanged kind of effect down there. Really helps it when those winds blow, that's for sure. So at one point this plant had split down here at the bottom too and got a little bit girdled, but this one for some reason was able to come back, and that's a good thing. I've left the support stick in there just to make sure that it doesn't get blown too hard in the wind and split it again. But everything seems to be pretty good as far as recovery on this plant goes. It's in full bore, and you can see everybody's starting to hair up, right? So that's a good thing. So while the water flows to this plant, let's just take a little check on this sweetheart here, and you can see it's also starting to get hairs on it. So everybody's setting up for flower. It is late August, and September's coming, and September's going to be the big month. That's when they're really going to fatten up. There's going to be like multiple huge tops on this one. I can just see that right now, just by the way they are. I mean, the earlier flowering, that's great, but it's funny because it depends on genetics as to when they flower. Some plants flower earlier, some plants flower later. Tends to be like an indica will go earlier, sativa will go later. I mean, that's a rule of thumb. It doesn't always happen that way, but it yeah, and most of these are hybrids anyway, so they're not really fully indica or sativa. There's some cross in between the two. So the hybrids are a mishmash when it comes to when they decide to start flowering. And there it is. So yeah, it's that's same girdling that was going on earlier in the year. It finally killed this one. It's now laying in a heap, and that heap is going to be tossed far down into the ravine as far as possible, so that there's no possibility of it getting some sort of mold or mildew or something on it and spreading it to the plants. Always be safe no matter what. Get rid of your junk as far away from your plants as possible, or you just never know what's going to happen if you don't. So God, I just got to take one more little look at this baby right here. This is just an awesome plant, and just take a sniff. You can actually smell it now. It's smelling really, really nice. Okay, well, it's gonzo. Everybody else looking good, though. I don't think we're going to have any more casualties. Fingers crossed, of course. Always cross your fingers. You never know. But I believe everybody else is going to make it, and that's good. If you're talking potentially 2 pounds per plant, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I mean, if I got 8 or 10 pounds from 5 plants, that'd be okay, right? So I'm not too sad. Sometimes it's a better thing, and sometimes others will make up for the loss of the others. So I've hung up the shears, and hopefully that's where they stay, hung up. Everybody looking really happy. Wonderful, wonderful day. It's just a beautiful day out today. Hose is all wrapped up. Last thing to do, refill the barrel. Here we go. Oh, right. Never forget to turn off the tap. There we go. Okay, barrel is filling. Now we wait. So that's it for August 23rd. Job done. Barrel filling. Beautiful day. Good morning. It's Thursday, August 29th. September's just about here. Watering day today. Kind of let them go a little bit longer between waterings this time around. The drought has returned. It's back again. It's extremely dry. I can count the number of times it's rained since June on one hand. So, no more than 5 times. And it's getting so dry now, people's wells are drying up. Even ours is starting to get to the point where it actually caused a shut-off on our pressure tank because the water level in the well got so low. Now it's recovered a bit, and we still have some water in the well, but I'm having to ration it out. So I'm filling the barrel up half at a time. Just doing everything we can. We're conserving water indoors and hoping like hell that it's going to rain. And it's saying it's supposed to rain on Sunday. So it says heavy rain. So we need that heavy rain, and I hope it gets here. But in the meantime, let's have a look at the plants. And see how they're going. See, they're doing pretty good. They are, like I say, extremely dry right now. Everybody's starting to hair up pretty good. These Keith Richards are nice. This one, I believe, is a snake venom. Getting there. So yeah, everybody is starting to show flowering, signs of flowering. I believe that's the strawberry gelato. But now, moving into September, this is where they really start going in earnest. And there's a nice shot for you, just with the sun in the background on those buds. They look really nice, don't they? So anyway, step number 1, you know the drill. Get up there, pH balance the water, and get them watered. Okay, let's check that pH and see where we're at. Well, looks like we hit it. Yep, so 6.2, ready to water. Okay, hose is all stretched out, ready to go. Let's let her rip. Getting water down there. Yep, all good. Okay, water's flowing. You know the drill. We give it 1 pass, moisten the top surface because that surface gets like concrete, and it doesn't readily absorb water until it's been moistened. So once I've got this moistened, I go down, moisten everybody else, come back and water again. Okay, water stopped flowing, so that's the whole barrel split out between 5 plants. And of course, while I'm watering, I always defoliate. Take as many of these old nasty leaves, anything that's starting to turn yellow or turning yellow, or maybe even blocking the sun, any particular reason at all, just take that leaf right off and get rid of it, because it's not going to help your cause, especially during flowering. So you see things like this are kind of starting to yellow, so you can do it preemptively before they really start getting bad. Is probably the best time to do it. Let's give you one more shot here. What a beauty. This is going to be one awesome plant right there, that's for sure. Just take a look at that. Yeah. So I think that's it for today. Again, defoliation is the key to letting your plants breathe. And of course, they're just sucking juice away from the buds anyway. So yeah, pluck them off. That's it for today. I think we're just gonna call it a day. I'll get up there and refill the barrel, and we'll be all ready for next time. So the barrel's about 2/3 full, so I'm just gonna cut off the water right now. Again, we're trying to conserve water, so I'm gonna leave it at 2/3, and I'll put the other 1/3 in later, maybe in a couple of days, but we have to give the well every opportunity we can to recover and fill back up with water. And right now, that's a tough road. So just leave you with the forecast. Today, sunny, 74, sunny Friday, sunny Saturday. Sunday is the one I'm praying for. So what they're saying for Sunday is heavy rain. So heavy rain, and hopefully it is very, very heavy. We need it so bad. Anyway, that's it for Grow Your Own. Have a great day.